I never thought my 8-year marriage would end like this. Walking through the front door after a long day at work, I expected to find my wife cooking dinner or watching television. Instead, Amanda stood in our living room with 2 large suitcases beside her. Her face was cold, expressionless. Before I could ask what was happening, she spoke the words that shattered everything. "I am moving out tonight. Do not contact me again." I felt my heart stop the world spinning around me. Yet somehow I only replied one word: "Fine." The calm in my voice surprised even me. Before I tell you what happened next, let me know where you are watching from in the comments and hit that subscribe button if you want to hear how I turned my life around after what seemed like my world ending. My name is Bartholomew, a 35-year-old software developer living in Seattle. I met Amanda during my junior year of college 10 years ago. She was studying business administration, and we bumped into each other at the campus library. With her long auburn hair and infectious laugh, I was immediately captivated. We exchanged numbers, went on our first date the following weekend, and quickly became inseparable. After dating for 2 years, I proposed during a weekend trip to the coast. Amanda said yes without hesitation, tears of joy streaming down her face. The wedding was small but beautiful, with close friends and family celebrating our love. Those early years together felt like a dream. We both landed good jobs after graduation and saved enough to buy our first home, a modest 3-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood. We talked about having children someday, traveling the world, growing old together. I took pride in being a good provider. My career in software development took off, and I often worked overtime to ensure Amanda could have the lifestyle she wanted. I never complained about the long hours because seeing her happy made it all worthwhile. She had expensive taste, favoring designer handbags and high-end shoes, but I wanted to give her everything she desired. Amanda had always enjoyed shopping, but over time her spending habits grew more extravagant. She would return home with bags from luxury boutiques, showing off her new purchases with excitement. I noticed our credit card bills increasing but rationalized it as the cost of making my wife happy. We could afford it after all, and I wanted her to feel secure. Around our 5th anniversary, I began noticing subtle changes. Despite having more than many couples our age, Amanda seemed increasingly dissatisfied. She would compare our home to those of her friends, suggesting we needed to upgrade. She complained about not taking exotic vacations like those she saw on social media. No matter what I provided, it never seemed enough. Still, I remained hopeful. I believed every marriage went through rough patches, and ours was no exception. I suggested date nights to reconnect, surprising her with weekend getaways when I could. 6 months ago, when tensions continued to rise, I proposed couples therapy. Amanda reluctantly agreed, though she often seemed disengaged during our sessions. Our financial arrangement had always been straightforward. We maintained joint accounts with most of my salary going into our shared savings and checking. Amanda had access to everything, including several credit cards in my name that she used regularly. I never questioned her purchases or asked her to account for money spent. I trusted her completely. The night before everything fell apart, we had dinner together at home. Amanda seemed distracted, but not unusually so. We talked about mundane things, work and weekend plans. She mentioned wanting to visit her sister soon, but gave no indication that she was planning to leave me. I went to bed that night, blissfully unaware that my world was about to collapse. The morning everything changed began like any other. I left for work early, kissing Amanda goodbye as she remained half asleep in our bed. Around lunchtime, my phone buzzed with a text notification. Amanda had accidentally sent me a message clearly intended for someone else. "Cannot wait to see you tonight. Finally leaving him for good." My hands shook as I read those words over and over. I scrolled through her previous messages, something I had never done before, and discovered conversations spanning months with someone saved as Jay. The messages left no doubt that Amanda had been having an affair. As the initial shock subsided, memories of ignored warning signs flooded my mind. The late-night work events that had become increasingly frequent, the weekends, visiting old college friends with vague details about her trips, the new lingerie I never saw her wear, the unexplained charges on our credit card statements at hotels in our own city. I had been blind to it all, trusting her implicitly. Sitting at my desk, unable to focus on work, I began examining our financial situation more carefully. I accessed our online banking and was horrified by what I found. Beyond her regular shopping habits, Amanda had been withdrawing large sums of cash, thousands of dollars each month with no explanation of where the money went. The credit card statements revealed even more painful truths. Expensive restaurant bills for tables of 2 on nights she claimed to be working late. Jewelry purchases that I had never seen her wear. Hotel charges in nearby cities on weekends. She was supposedly visiting family. There was even a receipt for a weekend spa package for 2 at a luxury resort 3 hours away. I left work early that day, my mind racing with questions and revelations. When I arrived home, Amanda was clearly surprised to see me. The suitcases were already packed, sitting by the front door. She had not expected me to return before she left. "What is all this?" I asked, gesturing toward her luggage. Her expression hardened. "I am moving out tonight. Do not contact me again. You are having an affair," I stated, not a question but a fact. She did not deny it. "I have not been happy for a long time, Bartholomew. And the money, thousands from our account's credit card charges. I deserve to be happy," she replied coldly, "and I expect you to continue supporting me financially while I figure things out. The credit cards should remain active, and I will need access to our accounts. 8 years of marriage, and this was what it came down to. A business transaction." I realized then that perhaps financial support had been her primary motivation all along. The woman I thought had loved me was a stranger, calculating and cold. "So you cheat on me, leave me, and expect me to fund your new life." My voice remained surprisingly steady despite the fury and pain churning inside. "We had an agreement," she insisted. "You provide financial stability. That should not change just because our living arrangement does." Her dismissive attitude about our years together, reducing our marriage to a mere living arrangement, cut deeper than the infidelity itself. The life we had built, the future we had planned, meant nothing to her. I felt something shift inside me at that moment. The devastation gave way to a quiet, resolute anger. I would not beg her to stay. I would not collapse into tears. Instead, I simply said, "Fine." She seemed taken aback by my calm acceptance, perhaps expecting pleading or promises. Without another word, she grabbed her suitcases and walked out the door. No goodbye, no backward glance. 8 years ended with the click of a door latch. Once alone, the composure I had maintained crumbled. I sank to the floor back against the wall and let the tears come. The betrayal cut deep, not just her affair, but the calculated nature of her departure. Had anything in our marriage been real, that night was the longest of my life. I could not sleep, my mind replaying every moment of our relationship, searching for clues I had missed. By dawn, exhaustion had given way to clarity. Amanda had made her choice. Now it was time to make mine. The morning after Amanda left, I sat at our kitchen table with a cup of coffee, making a list of everything I needed to do. My initial shock had given way to a strange, calm determination. I was done being used and taken advantage of. It was time to take control of my life again. First, I called the credit card companies. One by one, I canceled every card that Amanda had been using. The customer service representatives asked if I wanted to report the cards stolen, but I declined. "No, not stolen," I explained. "Just no longer authorized for the secondary user." With each call, I felt a small sense of reclaiming my life. Next, I contacted our bank. I explained the situation and removed Amanda from our joint accounts, transferring half of our savings to a new account in my name only. Despite my anger, I wanted to be fair. Half of our accumulated savings was rightfully hers, but I would not allow her continued access to my income. By mid-morning, I had reached out to a divorce attorney recommended by a colleague. The lawyer Patricia Jenkins agreed to see me that afternoon. She listened patiently as I explained my situation, then offered straightforward advice. Document everything, she instructed. The affair, the financial misuse, everything. Wisconsin is a no-fault divorce state, but evidence of financial misconduct can impact property division. I spent the next hours gathering evidence. Screenshots of the text messages proving her infidelity. Bank statements showing unexplained withdrawals. Credit card bills with charges for hotels and gifts that were clearly not for me. Each piece of evidence strengthened my resolve. The most shocking discovery came when Patricia had her assistant run a background check on the mysterious Jay from the text messages. His full name was Jackson Thornton, a 45-year-old investment banker, and he was married with 3 children. Amanda was not leaving me for a new life with her lover. She was the other woman in a typical affair that would likely go nowhere. More disturbing revelations followed when I checked our credit report. Amanda had opened 2 personal credit cards in my name without my knowledge, accumulating over $20,000 in debt. She had forged my signature on the applications and had been making minimum payments from our joint account. That evening, I called a locksmith to change the locks on our home. The house had been purchased primarily with my down payment and mortgage payments. Amanda had contributed minimally, insisting her income should be for her personal needs. Now I needed to protect what was legally mine until the divorce was finalized. As word of our separation spread, friends began reaching out. To my surprise, several admitted they had suspected Amanda was being unfaithful. James, my closest friend since high school, confessed he had seen her with another man at a restaurant months ago, but had not known how to tell me. "She was all over him, man," James said uncomfortably. "I convinced myself maybe it was a cousin or something. I should have said something. I am sorry." The betrayal extended beyond just Amanda. I felt foolish for being the last to know, for trusting so completely while everyone else saw the truth. Despite the mounting evidence of her deception, the pain remained intense. I alternated between rage and despair, between determination and doubt. Had I driven her to this somehow? Could I have been a better husband? The rational part of me knew her actions were her choice alone, but the emotional wounds ran deep. The first sign that Amanda had discovered my financial changes came 36 hours after she left. My phone lit up with her name, the first contact since she walked out. I let it go to voicemail. "What the hell do you think you are doing?" her voice demanded when I listened to the message later. "My cards were declined. The bank says I cannot access our accounts. Call me immediately." I did not return her call. More messages followed, each increasingly desperate and angry. "You cannot just cut me off like this. We had an agreement. I need access to those accounts. This is not fair. If you do not fix this, I will tell everyone about your anger issues." This last one made me laugh bitterly. I had never had anger issues. It was a transparent attempt at manipulation. On the third day, the text messages changed tone. "Please, Bart. I made a mistake. Can we talk? I miss you. Maybe we rushed things. Let me explain. I am coming over tonight. We need to talk in person." True to her word, at exactly 7 o'clock that evening, there was a knock at my door. 3 days after walking out of my life, Amanda was back standing on our doorstep with tears streaming down her face. Opening the door to find Amanda on my doorstep was surreal. Her usual perfect appearance was disheveled, her eyes red and puffy from crying. She wore no makeup, and her designer clothes had been replaced with simple jeans and a sweater. "Bartholomew, please," she started before I could speak. "We need to talk." I stepped aside silently, allowing her into the home she had abandoned. In the living room, she turned to face me, tears continuing to fall. "I made a terrible mistake," she said. "Jackson, he was nothing. A stupid fling." "And where is Jackson now?" I asked, already suspecting the answer. Her eyes dropped to the floor. "He went back to his wife. Once the credit cards were declined at the hotel, he said he could not afford to leave his family." The admission confirmed what I had already learned about her affair partner. "So you are here because your plan failed," I observed calmly. "Not because you regret betraying me." "No, I mean, yes, I regret it. I was confused. You were always working, and I felt neglected. Jackson made me feel special, but it was not real. What we had was real." She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "What we had," I repeated, emphasizing the past tense. "You threw that away." Not just with the affair, but with the financial deception too. $20,000 in credit card debt in my name. Years of unexplained withdrawals from our accounts. Her expression shifted, surprise, replacing the contrition. "How did you find out about the cards? That is your concern. Not that you committed identity theft against your husband, but that I discovered it." For the first time, I saw genuine shame cross her face. "I was going to pay them off. I just needed a little financial freedom." "Financial freedom," I echoed. "While I worked 60-hour weeks to provide the lifestyle you demanded, the luxury handbags, the designer clothes, the expensive vacations, none of it was ever enough. I made mistakes," she admitted. "But we can fix this. We can go to counseling, work through our issues. I still love you, Bartholomew." Despite the words I had longed to hear just days earlier, I felt nothing but hollowness. The woman before me was a stranger, someone capable of profound betrayal and calculating deception. Whatever love I had felt had been poisoned by her actions. "I filed for divorce yesterday," I told her quietly. "Patricia Jenkins is my attorney. All communication can go through her from now on." "Divorce?" Amanda gasped. You cannot be serious. 8 years of marriage, and you will not even try to save it. You ended our marriage the moment you decided to betray everything it stood for. I replied, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. I deserve better than someone who sees me as nothing but a financial resource. That is not fair. I loved you. I still love you. Love does not drain joint bank accounts. Love does not open fraudulent credit cards. Love does not cheat and lie for months. Each word was painful to speak, but also freeing. The divorce will be fair. You will receive half of our marital assets as of the day you left. Nothing more. Amanda's tears dried quickly, replaced by the calculating look I had come to recognize. Half is not enough. I gave you 8 years of my life. I am entitled to ongoing support. Your attorney can discuss that with mine, I answered, walking toward the door. This conversation is over. You will regret this, she threatened as I held the door open. No one will ever love you like I did. I hope not, I replied honestly. I hope to find someone who loves me for who I am, not what I can provide. After she left, I expected to feel devastation again. Instead, a strange peace settled over me. For the first time in years, perhaps I had stood up for myself and my own worth. The divorce process was neither quick nor easy. Amanda hired an aggressive attorney who demanded alimony and a larger share of our assets, citing her contributions to my career and her accustomed lifestyle. My documentation of her financial misconduct and infidelity proved crucial in the negotiations. 6 months after that night, she walked out. Our divorce was finalized. Amanda received half of our savings and retirement accounts accumulated during the marriage, as was fair. Her attempts to claim ongoing support were denied by the judge, after reviewing evidence of her affair and financial deception. During those months, I focused on rebuilding. I sold our house, unable to live with the memories it contained, and found a comfortable apartment closer to downtown. I immersed myself in work, earning a promotion that had long been overdue. Evenings and weekends that had once been filled with trying to please an unpleasable spouse became opportunities for rediscovery. I reconnected with friends I had neglected, spent more time with my parents who lived an hour away, and even took a solo trip to Yellowstone National Park, something Amanda had always rejected as too rustic. In the quiet beauty of nature, I found perspective that had eluded me in the chaos of my failing marriage. Perhaps most importantly, I began therapy. Dr. Martin helped me process not just the betrayal but the patterns that had led me to ignore red flags for years. I had confused providing material things with building a genuine partnership. I had allowed Amanda's happiness to become my sole responsibility, while neglecting my own needs. Healthy relationships involve mutual respect and reciprocity. Dr. Martin explained during one session, you deserved better than to be valued only for what you could provide. 1 year after Amanda left, I unexpectedly ran into her at a coffee shop downtown. She looked much the same, though, without the designer clothes and expensive jewelry that had once been her uniform. We acknowledged each other awkwardly, and to my surprise, she asked if we could talk for a moment. I owe you an apology, she said as we sat at a corner table. What I did was wrong. All of it, the affair, the money, everything. Why the change of heart, I asked, genuinely curious. Therapy, she admitted with a small smile. Turns out I have some issues with materialism and using relationships as security blankets. I am working on it. I am glad I said and meant it. Despite everything, I did not wish her ill. Are you seeing anyone? She asked tentatively. Not seriously, I answered truthfully. I am taking time to figure out who I am and what I really want. She nodded. That is probably smart. I should have done that before jumping from my parents' house to college to marriage. After a pause, she added, I am sorry I hurt you, Bartholomew. You deserved better. As we parted ways, I realized I had finally found the forgiveness I had been working toward, not for her sake but for my own healing. The anger and pain no longer defined me. Today, my life bears little resemblance to the one I shared with Amanda. I date occasionally but focus primarily on building a life that brings me joy regardless of relationship status. I have learned that self-respect is not selfish but essential, that healthy boundaries protect both parties in a relationship, and that true partnership cannot exist where exploitation thrives. The journey from that devastating evening to now has been difficult but ultimately rewarding. I discovered a strength within myself that I never knew existed and built a life aligned with my authentic values rather than someone else's expectations. If you have ever found yourself compromising your worth to keep someone else happy, Let me tell you what took me too long to learn: real love builds you up. It does not deplete you. Real love sees your value beyond what you can provide. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from those who cannot see your true worth. What is your story of finding strength after betrayal? Share in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more stories of overcoming life's challenges. And remember to hit the share button if you know someone who might need to hear this message of hope and renewal. Thank you for listening to my journey, and I wish you the courage to honor your own worth in every relationship you build.